Since the late 1920s, the Academy Awards have been honoring the best cinema has to offer. One of the most noteworthy awards of the ceremony is Best Actor, honoring the best leading man of the year. Over the course of the Oscars history, there hasn't been any downright bad performance by a Best Actor winner. However, there have certainly been a few that have been unremarkable at best. Particularly when you compare them to other winners of the same decade, they certainly haven't aged well. Warner Baxter created the genre staple of a singing cowboy in a cartoonish and campy performance as a Mexican outlaw in Old Arizona. It's not a particularly strong performance, but it's made to look even weaker in front of the decade's only other Best Actor winner, Emil Jannings, for his tour de force performances in both The Last Command and The Way of All Flesh. While Spencer Tracy was one of the most popular and talented performers of classic Hollywood, it's unfortunate that both of his Oscar wins are remembered as two of the weakest of the 1930s. His poor attempt at what seems to be a Portuguese accent in Captain's Courageous distracts from his performance, but it's not like it has much complexity to offer in the first place. Sergeant York is a pretty solid film with a great lead performance, and Gary Cooper embodies his character well, but it's such a simplistic character and so evidently a product of its time that the actor couldn't really do much to make himself more worthy of the award than Orson Welles, who was also nominated in 1942 for his incredible performance in Citizen Kane. For a long time, David Niven's win has been remembered as one of the most disappointing in Oscars history, as he was clearly a supporting presence in Separate Tables, so his win in the wrong category only blemished what's otherwise some really outstanding work on a pretty solid movie. Rex Harrison is charming and commanding in My Fair Lady, but Best Actor material? Certainly not. His singing is underwhelming, and Audrey Hepburn constantly acts circles around him. One would be forgiven for forgetting that Richard Dreyfuss has an Oscar win under his belt. Perhaps it's because he won it for one of the most forgettable Best Actor winning performances in The Goodbye Girl. In the grand scheme of the magnificent performances that won Best Actor in the 1970s, an above-average rom-com leading man performance like Dreyfuss's just doesn't cut it. By the time the 1980s came around, Paul Newman was long overdue for an Academy Award win. It came in the form of a Best Actor victory for Martin Scorsese's highly underrated gem, The Color of Money. While it'll always be a relief that he won an Oscar before his career ended, it just wasn't for the right role, and felt more like a legacy win than anything else. No matter what anyone thinks of Life is Beautiful, Roberto Benigni made Oscar history with his extremely enthusiastic acceptance speeches for Best Foreign Film and Best Actor. The latter, however, is a victory that hasn't aged well at all. Benigni is funny and charming in the role, but that's about it, and everybody else in the category that year offered a more complex and satisfying performance. While it has an enveloping atmosphere and a sense of mystery, Mystic River is affected by an overly melodramatic tone that borders on soap opera. As a result, Sean Penn's lead performance suffers as well, coming across as cartoonishly over the top, especially in his most intense scenes. For the 2010s, Best Actor wins don't get much more underwhelming than Rami Malek's for Bohemian Rhapsody. The film tells a watered-down, highly commercialized version of the story of the legendary British rock band Queen. More often than not, it feels like he's doing nothing more than a decent Freddie Mercury impression with a diluted personality. Comparing him to Anthony Hopkins' harrowing turn in The Father and Brendan Fraser's devastating work on The Whale, Will Smith in King Richard is easily the weakest link in the 2020s. Smith only settles for being slightly above average, his line delivery sometimes feels over the top, and he occasionally starts leaning more toward heavy-handed impersonation than compelling transformation.